Hello and welcome back, you beautiful human. Today we're doing kind of a special video. It kind of feels special to me. It's my last ever video that will be filmed in this place because I'm moving out. When my parents get here in like 20 minutes, which is the most college thing ever, I feel like, leaving everything to the last moment. But this is the last college series that I read while I was in college because I just graduated college 2 days ago. Ooh, insert applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So I kind of talked about it in my April reading wrap up. So if you're one of the 6 that also watched that video, I'm so sorry for talking about it again. But it's basically, I was doing like the last week of classes at my school, Loyola University of Chicago, and I was like, I need to read a college romance right now. Like, I want a college classic romance series, like with the friend group and like everything, because I was just like, this is my last time that I'll be feeling the same things that they're feeling. And I didn't really have one in mind, so I just kind of scrolled through, like, I keep like a TBR or whatever that's really long, and I was just scrolling through, and one was called The Senior, and I was like, well, I'm sure that's probably about college. So I looked it up, found out they have 4 books, the freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. And I was like, that sounds perfect. It's going to be so fun. So this is a video on the college years by Monica Murphy. So basically, the first book is The Freshmen. They're very easy to remember, which is always nice. But basically, what happens in The Freshmen is the dude Tony is a freshman. Haha, see what she did there? And he's like a rich boy, whatever, always like whatever, has a lot of money, whatever. And he meets Hayden, who is a junior in college, and they end up going to the same school, Fresno State. And Tony's on the football team and whatever. Basically, they meet and they like kind of hit it off and are flirty and like whatever. And then their dads mutually are like, don't see the other person. They're like, we are business enemies and you cannot do that to the family. Both of them aren't really close with their dads though, so they're both like, I'm gonna do what I want. And they continue to hang out, and Hayden's kind of like, at first she kind of like doesn't really want to like, she's like, no, we're just friends. And then she's like, maybe we're like friends with benefits. Maybe like she doesn't, they're both don't believe in love, so they're like hesitant. Great. A plus Julia for doing a recap. Also, sorry that my voice sounds like this. Speaking of college days, I literally graduated on Friday with my whole family and had like the best night. We like got like really great dinner, like all this stuff. Saturday, my friends threw a darty that like all the families were invited to, and we partied all day with my family. So that's why my voice sounds like this, because I was screaming a lot yesterday. And then, like I said, I literally woke up today. My family's coming in like less than 20 minutes to pack me out, or to like move me out, and I've not packed anything. So this will be really fun. But I felt like I had to do it here. I had to do it in my college apartment. I had to do it, whatever. You don't care. Anyways. Haha. So basically my thoughts on The Freshman are, it was boring. It was so boring. I didn't care. There was just like no motivation for me to care. I feel like it was just like, I don't know, like the rich people who don't believe in love because he had a bad relationship in high school. That's literally like why he doesn't believe in love. I'm like, that's so stupid. Like, I'm sorry, like I'm sure he got hurt and stuff, but it was just like, that seems silly to me. And I don't know, I think it was just very like, the whole book. Like, I didn't really care about them being together that much. I didn't feel like there was enough tension to like, and to justify them being like, wanting to be together, but like they can't because if they're like holding their holdbacks. It's not a word. Because of their setbacks? No. Because of their like their thoughts. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like they can't, because emotionally they can't commit to each other. I don't know. There just wasn't enough tension. It just like felt like it just wasn't my favorite. It was not my favorite. So that's basically. And also, I know, again, I talked about this in my April reading wrap up, but like none of the books, like this is The Freshman, and like it's based off the boys' ages, not the girls, which I have no idea why they did that. I don't know why they just didn't make the girl a freshman, because I feel like that would have made a lot more sense and just made it it would have made it better, because I feel like it would have been more of a freshman experience. These books don't at all feel like college romances to me. Other than the fact that sometimes it'd be like, oh, getting out of class, I ran into, I'm like, I don't even feel like you're in college. Like the way that they like act, the like the trips and stuff they go on, I feel like the, I don't know, like I don't know, they just don't do like the classic college things. And I know colleges have like vastly different like things at each college. Like I'm sure like I went to college in Chicago, which was very different. That doesn't have like big Greek life, and like we don't have a football team, which is very different than like if you go to like Ohio State University, that's like huge football, like whatever. Or like no one really drives at my school. Like I'm definitely like walking everywhere. Like so is everyone. Like whatever. There's other schools that are very commuter based and like all this stuff. I get it, but I just feel like it just didn't have any of the like. It didn't have to have any like stereotypes, but like it just didn't feel like a college series. And for it being the college year series and being like the freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, I didn't feel like they had those aspects. Okay, the next book is, you guessed it, the sophomore. This one is Jackson and Ellie. So basically Jackson is now a sophomore because the sophomore, and Ellie is a freshman. They are friends from high school, and basically they're like really, really good friends. Ellie has the biggest crush on Jackson. Jackson does know this and just like doesn't do anything about it, because he's like, I love her as a best friend and I don't want to ruin that. And he's very like not a relationship guy. He's very like flavor of the week kind of guy. So he's like, I don't want to hurt her and like do anything like that. But then Ellie constantly is hurt regardless, because it's really hard for her to see Jackson with other girls and like flirting with other people and stuff, and then like be really close to her. Yes. I thought this book was better. I like this a lot better than the freshman. I think there was more, like I said, like tension and like stakes with it. Like I think their reasoning made more sense to me too. Like Jackson didn't want to ruin their friendship because he genuinely didn't. He's never been in a committed relationship and like he didn't think he could do it. That makes sense to me. So he doesn't want to ruin this like really great friendship he has and like all this stuff. I think it was, I mean, I try not to be ever like, oh, this could never happen, because like obviously we're kind of suspending our disbelief in a lot of ways for books. But Jackson, it plays on the football team, and he's also this like local celebrity musician, which I'm like, fun, but it cracked me up the whole book, because one of the plot points is that like Jackson is like getting offered record deals, but he doesn't want to take any of them yet because they're like not what he wants, or like they're not a good enough deal, or like whatever. He also comes from money. And he's like trying to like find himself and what he wants to do, whatever. That's a great storyline, but it's also like, you're telling me this dude is so good that he was working in like a pub the year before, like playing like local gigs, and a year later he is turning down multiple record labels, like with huge people, like multiple times. Like I don't know, I was just kind of like, and then it was annoying to me because they would talk about it in the book so much of him being like, yeah, well, I like had to turn them down because they did this. And I'm like, I respect you and I respect your like creative like I don't like your creative mind and like you wanting to have creative control over everything. I completely get that. But it's also like, it was kind of annoying him constantly complaining about something that's like what people dream about. Like I don't know, it was just very like, okay. But anyways, the story between them I think was good. I think I liked Ellie as a character a lot more than I liked Hayden too, which I think helped. Not for any particular reason, I don't know. And I mean, this is like a friend group one where it's like they're all on the football team, whatever. And like the girl, I thought it was cool seeing the girls introduced too, because Hayden and her best friend, who will be book 3, they, I'm just not saying her name because I forget it, but I'll look it up on Goodreads before I talk about book 3. Oops. But they are like juniors in the freshmen, and they are best friends and like roommates and all this stuff. And then when Hayden starts dating Tony, then it's like they kind of, Grace, her name is Gracie, I'm almost sure of that. Anyways, they like get in like involved with their group, so then it's like Ellie is a freshman, so she is, she's 3 years younger than the girls. So it's kind of fun because it's like the girls have like the girls meeting Gracie and Hayden have like a nice like older sister type vibe with them, which I feel like I don't get a lot in books, just because like unless they are actual sisters, like the Addicted series or something, you're getting more like peers, which I think is also such a great dynamic and relationship. But I think it was really cool seeing like more of like a older sister relationship that's not like a found family older sister relationship. I thought it was kind of cool. So yeah. Okay, now we're on to the junior. Oh, doesn't time fly? Anyways, so the junior is Caleb and Gracie. I was right. And basically their story was like the one, I didn't really talk about it, but theirs was one of the ones that was like hyped up a lot. Like, you know, there's always in the series, they always like hint at two people like really, you know, they're going to get together in one of the books, and this was the book in the series. Caleb is best friends with Tony from the first book, and Hayden, who dates Tony from the first book, best friend is Gracie. And basically Gracie and Caleb meet in the first book, and they just like, they don't hit it off. They just are like, don't like each other. Caleb's very like little boy-esque, of like very like he like messes with you a lot, and he's like very like out there and like does silly things and like, I don't know, makes like rash decisions and stuff. So Gracie doesn't really like him. Not like they hate each other, it's more just like they're annoyed by each other. So I don't really want to say enemies to lovers, it's more like, it's like mild enemies to lovers. It's like they were just like annoyed by each other's presence more than like, I hate you, you know what I mean? But they were hyping up this relationship a lot. They kept just being like, yeah, I'm attracted to him, but like he's the worst, and like vice versa. Yeah, so then come to book 3, we have their story, which was kind of fun. I always like when it's like built up like that. Basically they end up living together in the same house, which was weird. It was Caleb, Gracie, and Eli, which is weird. Eli's in the 4th book. He's also on the football team. It was weird to me why they moved in together, and also didn't really make sense. And also keep in mind that Gracie then also, she had already graduated, because she was like a 5th year senior, because she's a teacher and she's doing her student teaching for her last year, which my sister's a teacher. That's not how it works, but I'm gonna again forgive that and just say, yeah, you do a 5th year. I mean, maybe if she's getting her master's or something, I don't know. Anyways, so she's a 5th year senior, and then he's a junior, and so is Eli. I don't know, it's kind of weird vibes, and I don't know, whatever. But basically, sorry, making sure my family's not here to pack me up. Anyways, basically, they get like a job over the summer at the same place, and then they're living together, so they kind of have to deal with each other a lot, and they end up just like kind of calling a truce and hanging out a lot, because his best friend and her best friend are also in a relationship, so they're like busy a lot with each other. So it kind of leaves them, everyone thinks that they're like secretly like hooking up together, and they're not, because Gracie is like, I feel like that would really complicate things. We finally found like this good relationship. We're living together. Like, it would be weird if we did that. All this stuff. And then I liked this book. I think it was my favorite in the series. They have this like slow build to like being really vulnerable and open with each other. I think was really nicely written, of being like annoyed by each other, slowly forming into a friendship, slowly forming into trusting them even more, and then being like, okay, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should try this relationship thing. Because also I feel like I should mention that Caleb was like another one of the players. They were all like just players before that had never been in a committed relationship, which was annoying to me. And then Gracie also kind of was, though. She just like had a different like guy she was interested in like every month or whatever. Never really stuck around that long, so it was like both really intimidating for both of them to like do this. And I think where some of the tension comes in the book, I think it makes sense, and I think it's well written. So the junior is probably my favorite. Yeah, I think I'm gonna say that. Okay, last but not least, we have the senior, which is sad being a senior. Well, I guess I'm not a senior anymore. But yeah, so this is the story of Eli and Ava, which they have been going out since high school, which also I feel like I should mention that I did not realize this, but there's other books, not in this series, but in this world, like the Callahan series, takes place before this, and Ava Callahan is in the Callahan books, and I'm pretty sure, I didn't read them, but I'm pretty sure her and Eli have 2 or 3 books in that series. So I was kind of jumping in blind, and like Tony from the first book was like in the other ones because they went to high school together, and I'm pretty sure Caleb was too, and Diego, who's also been in all the books. So I missed the whole beginning of their relationship. So Monica would give us like bits and pieces, just being like, I think they got together like, I think like her junior year, his senior year of high school, and they are from like opposing football schools or whatever, so like it was a big deal because like her older brother Jake was like upset that she was dating like the enemy or whatever, and he thought that he was just like messing with her and like it wasn't actually real and like all this stuff. And so like a bit of forbidden romance, I guess. And then yeah, apparently they like got together, and then they had a falling out of some sort. Again, I didn't read it, so I don't really know. And then they got back together, and then they were good. And then he went to college at Fresno State to play football, and Ava was still in high school. And then the next year, he expected her to come to Fresno State, and she went to San Diego State. So they had to do long distance. He was very upset by this. Eli was, and you see this and hit like bits and pieces in the freshman, sophomore, and junior of Eli being like frustrated and being like, I just want to be with Ava, and I love Ava so much, but I don't get to see her that much, and like just the struggles of being long distance and all of this. Yeah, and then we get to senior year, and they have broken up because Ava has an opportunity to study abroad, I think in Spain, for the summer. And she really wants to go, but that would mean that she wouldn't be home for summer, aka when her and Eli get like the most time they get together, when they're not at separate schools. And he's really upset by this and is like, you're leaving me, you're abandoning me, like how could you do this to me? Because he has abandonment issues. So he breaks up with her, and Ava is distraught and is like, I'm not going to tell him he can't tell me what I can and can't do. So like obviously she still goes, and they're both just like heartbroken. That's kind of like that's at the end of the junior that kind of happens. And then she comes back from Spain. She had this great study abroad trip, and now she's off for the first semester because of how her study abroad worked or whatever. She's going to be in Fresno. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to me, but whatever. And so she's back in Fresno, hanging out with their whole friend group and like doing all these things. And her and Eli just keep seeing each other, and they both are just really stubborn. And like the whole book, it's just both of them being like, are you going to apologize? Be like, no. Are you going to apologize? Be like, no. And then be like, then what are we doing? And then they have this big fight, and then everyone's like, oh my gosh, no. But then like 2 weeks later, when they see each other again the next time, they both apologize for what they did that night and are like, I can't believe that, like, I did that to you, and, like, I'm so, like, I love you, and I want to be with you. And then they, like, I don't know. It was a lot of, like, back and forth of being, like, we are still in love and want to be together, and then being, like, forget him, like, I want to move on and, like, do other things. So, I don't know. It's kind of a lot of back and forth. And like I said, I do think I also missed a lot of their relationship that made, because this book, I felt like it went very fast, and also, like, it's a more unique story because they didn't fall in love in the story, and they didn't fall out of love ever. They were still in love this entire time. They just had like not a miscommunication, but like a fight. So it's like, it wasn't even like it was a second chance romance, but like not even in the classical sense, you know, when it's like they for some reason like lose their way and like fall out of love with each other. Like they didn't really fall out of love with each other. They just got in like a fight and were too stubborn to admit it. So it was kind of like, I don't know. And then I thought the book just moved kind of fast because clearly they had all this history that I wasn't aware of, so it made more sense for people who had read everything to move quickly. I just think it was weird to make this book in this series because I don't think it's that good of a standalone. I don't really think it makes that much sense without the other books. I felt lost at a lot of times. I felt like the book was rushed at a lot of times because I didn't have the history. I just don't really understand why she put them also in the college years series. I feel like maybe she should have gone back and put them as another book in the Callahan series. I don't really know. It just felt very weird to me. But yeah, and it ends, I mean, I do love, oh my gosh, they're on their way over. I do love, I'm a sucker for, like, especially, like, these, like, college friends group ones where they have, like, an ending that's, like, a, like, flash forward or, like, whatever, an epilogue where it's, like, you get to see all their happiness and stuff, and I don't know, they had that, and I'm a sucker for that, so they scored some points in my book because of that. But my ranking, I think I'm going to do, the junior's obviously my first. I think I'm going to do the sophomore, senior, the freshman. Yeah, so that's my ranking. Yeah, this was a weird experience because I don't think it really felt like a college romance by any means, like I said, but it was my last one while I'm in college, or was in college because I'm no longer in college. So thank you for hearing me talk about this book series and, I don't know, being kind of nostalgic. It was nice talking to you, and filming in this room for the past semester has been great. Well, I've been living here for 2 years, but not filming videos for 2 years, but whatever. So yeah, so thank you for watching. I hope you have an amazing and beautiful day, and you're beautiful, lovely, and amazing. Mwah. Bye.